when it comes to things financially, what I'm going to encourage you to do is educate yourself. That's something that you could start to do. If that's your objective, educate yourself is a great place to start. Because if you don't have information to help you make the right decisions, then it's really hard to get on the right path and to start taking the steps that you're going to need to take. What is that one thing? And it's a simple thing, but like most things that are simple, not always easy. So here it is.
Hi, what is one thing that can make your 2022 the most successful year? Hello, my name is JinJin Fung, and here with me is Dan Allen from Ascendant Financial. We're here to talk about what makes us 2022 the most successful year. Dan, what would you say the number one habit that you could do to make this a successful year?
Yeah, great question, Jinjin. So what I'm going to say to you out there is, hey, if you've struggled, and haven't we all at some point about, hey, I had great aspirations for this year, but hey, they didn't all turn out that well. So we're going to give you one thing that we want you to think about. That's one habit that you can build to make a difference in your life and make 2022 the most successful year ever. And here it is. And we're not gonna drag this out. We're gonna give it to you right off the top. What is that one thing? And it's a simple thing, but like most things that are simple, not always easy. So here it is. Start with the end in mind. What do you mean by that, Dan? You might be saying. So here's what I'm gonna tell you is like, if you've got an objective, and just for today's conversation, let's just say, you decided that it's going to be a health objective. Looks like you walking 10,000 steps a day for 5 days out of every 7. That is how you start with the end in mind. So with that, there's a few other things you have to do. And Jinjin, what's the other part that we really encourage people to do well when they start with the end in mind?
You also should consider, why do you have this goal? Or what is the reason behind that you wanted to do this? For example, Dan mentioned that if my goal in my health perspective is to walk 10,000 steps per day, then why am I doing that? Maybe I want it for my good health so that I can spend longer time with my children. Maybe I wanted to have a better health so that I will work harder. What would you be your whys?
Yeah, that's great, Jinjin. So whatever you want to get done, you really have to connect it well to why. And that was a great example. It's just like when you think about, why would I want to improve my health? It's easy for us to think about, hey, I can move more freely, I feel better. It's all factual. That's based on my experience. If I get more active, I feel better. So it's those kind of things that you put down. What is it and why? So be very specific about what you want to do. Start with the end in mind, and then really take the time to think about your why. Because if you haven't sold yourself on it, first and foremost, then everything else doesn't matter. You're going to come up with some idea, but you really haven't connected to that idea. So you want to make sure you believe in what you're doing. So like Jinjin said, really critical to get to the why. Now, Jinjin, what else would people need to do after they've figured it out, what exactly they're going to do and why they're doing? What's some other things they have to think about?
So the next step is to plan out how we can achieve from where we are today to where we want it to be at the end in our mind.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So, again, if we're just talking about this specific one that we've been using for our analogy today, and you think about that for some people, and hey, this is maybe where you need to start. They have to start with, thinking about, what's the first thing I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to get up each morning at whatever time you decide to do this. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my shoes on. The shoes I'm going to use to walk. So some people have to go to that detail. Other people won't. But whatever works for you, start to put down the steps that you need to accomplish. How am I going to be successful? Now, this example of that one habit, which is starting with the end in mind, that we've gone through, this applies to anything you want to do in life. So if you focus on wealth and you want to change your outcomes financially, well, again, start, what is it you want to achieve? Be very specific. Don't just say, I want to have more money than I had last year. No, you say, put it down specifically, what you want to achieve. And then go, so, okay, why does that matter? And then again, once you've got those two things and you believe it fits with what you value, why, then you just start, what would I have to do different? Now, when it comes to things financially, what I'm going to encourage you to do is educate yourself. You know, that's something that you could start to do. If that's your objective, educate yourself is a great place to start. Because if you don't have information to help you make the right decisions, then it's really hard to get on the right path and to start taking the steps that you're going to need to take. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. We've got great information on our YouTube channel related to things financial, how you could change your outcomes. And it's a great place to learn. And all it costs you is time, just a little time to take in stuff, educate yourself. There's lots of great books out there. One of my favorite books, I don't know about you, JinJin, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Just helped me to think differently about money and what is the value of money? And if it's not in motion, is there any value? There's just lots of information for you to take in through education. Lots of great books out there. And do a good job of, be cynical when people tell you stuff. And then go and test it. Every time I work with someone and they want to teach me something new, one of the things I do is I ask them, show me what you're doing. What do you do, JinJin?
Yeah, I really like what Dan mentioned, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because it's really changing how I think, how I look at financial things. So I agree with what Dan mentioned. If you wanted to change your financial positions, you got to start thinking differently and doing things a little bit different. Otherwise, if you're doing the same old things, and where can you get into a better financial situation? If you have a wealth plan that you have, start with that end in mind. Have a different goal, have a big goal, and start to educate yourself and maybe get a mentor. What I gain most from educating is I can read all the books, but with a mentor, with a coach, that will just accelerate my growth, accelerate my knowledge learning. So I really encourage you, if this is some passes you do, I agree with Dan, get a lot of education, put some time and effort in that, and you need a good coach.
Yeah, well said, JinJin, and I love the fact you brought up, find someone that's already done it and learn from them. So that's just a few of the things that we wanted to give you today to build off of that one habit. And again, if you want to have the best year ever in 2022, always start with the end in mind.